on this episode of Edge of the Web.
So Schema is, in my opinion, the way that Google is eventually going to do all feeds.
Oh.
And so yes, I know, as soon as you say anything like that, there's a million, but it's not ready. And you're like, right, I know.
Your weekly digital marketing trends with industry trend-setting guests. You're listening and watching Edge of the Web. Winners of Best Podcast from the Content Marketing Institute for 2017. Hear and see more at edgeofthewebradio.com. Now, here's your host, Aaron Sparks.
Let's introduce Kirk to our audience. He's the owner of ZATO, is paid search and social media, social PPC micro agency of experts. He's been working in the digital marketing space since 2009. He's been named one of the top 25 most influential PPCers in the world by PPC Hero for 3 years in a row, right after he was on our show, by the way. I just want to make that correlation there. He's written a number of articles on many industry publications such as Moz, PPC Hero, Search Engine Land, and Bing, and is a frequent guest on digital marketing podcasts such as this and webinars. So he's also a host of a weekly hashtag PPC chat on Twitter, as well as an avid conference speaker. He's all over the place. So, Kirk, it's great to have you on board here, returning to the show. I want to let our listeners know he actually has a very unique path getting to marketing. He came from seminary school to jump into marketing, specializing in PPC. So it's almost like You've given us a christening of sorts, the marketing space out here. I mean, we really appreciate that. But give us your backstory in your words. There's the official bio, but let us know how you got here.
Yeah, I mean, I can pray to start the show if you'd like.
Very good. All right.
Yeah, so it was actually while I was in seminary, believe it or not, and I was working overnight at Target, doing some backstocking stuff and thinking, I don't care what job comes along next. I will take it because I am exhausted because I was working nights, going to school during the day. At some point in there, saying hi to my wife and sleeping somewhat. So marketing was the job that came along, and got into it. Started doing some content type stuff, and then it was just at a little e-commerce company. Mm-hmm. They said, "Hey, do you want to run these Google AdWords things, right? Why don't you figure it out and do it, and we'll pay you and you can learn on the job." And so I thought, yeah, that sounds kind of fun, and developed a love for it. Long story short, started getting my own clients, eventually went out on my own, and that's I think 2011 is when I started ZATO. It was called KE Creative back then. I'm terrible at naming things, all right. I do like ZATO though. That's better.
I think you've been asked that question about how you came up with ZATO so many times. I was going through some of the interviews that you've had, and that always comes up. And so, okay, so give it. I mean, we asked you last time you were on our show, but give our listeners what the background of that particular word is.
Yeah. So again, a hail to seminary. So that comes from some of my Greek studies. So ZATO, back in the biblical Greek, Koine Greek. Not even spoken anymore. So if someone's like, "Oh, hey, cool, I know Greek too," and they start talking to me, I'm sorry, I'm out. But ZATO means like to seek out, so to search, right? So kind of a little bit of pulling that in and using that, kind of a cool meaning.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were able to pluck you away from seminary school, and hopefully, God's not mad at us for that. But you've joined you've joined the ranks of the top PPCers, and one of your core competencies and one of the torches that you bring up on high are the Google Shopping ads, right?
Yeah, I love them. So it's not even just that. That's just kind of what I started doing and thought, oh, cool. Well, I write on these, but I actually really genuinely do enjoy shopping ads. So that kind of worked with the clients we were getting, and have tried to really know everything about them. I'm actually going through all the policy documents in spare time and just like reading through them again. And it's amazing how many things I'm still just learning. Like, this is just Google's public policy documents on shopping ads, but there's pages and pages and pages, right?
That's your light reading. Whenever you're relaxed, you just go through the policy ads.
Yeah, some of my light reading. Yeah, but yeah. So it's amazing how much you can still learn about this stuff. So.
Excellent. Well, to the newly initiated, or the agencies or the companies that listen to the show, and they haven't jumped into the shopping ads, give us a bit of a picture here. Now, these are product listing ads, PLA, and they're featured across Google search and shopping results. But break it down to us. What do we see whenever we're experiencing a shopping ad?
Yeah, so I think seen is a big part of it. So shopping ads are in text-based SERPs, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, again, now there's like all of this other random stuff that Google throws in for you SEOers, right? With all the images and stuff.
Right.
But really, especially when shopping ads first came out, it was all of a sudden you're in text-based search and you're seeing, this is a product I'm interested in. And now I actually see the picture of it. So I can visually tell at an instant, oh, that's the one I'm interested in. Really a big deal for things like apparel. Mm-hmm. And then you also see the price, and then ratings, things like that. And really a core part that actually a lot of times people forget about shopping ads is they kind of further assist with trust as well, because there are such requirements for shopping ads, especially for landing pages, mm-hmm. you don't really have for text ads. That is actually kind of a big deal too. So for the most part, with a shopping ad, sometimes people sneak things through until Google disapproves them. But for the most part, if you see an ad that says, hey, this product is $29.99 and you click on it, you're going to get to that product and it's going to be $29.99. And so because of that, they have kind of that visual element, that trust element. You can quickly and easily see what you want as a product. They work great. So a really crucial difference on the back end for those of us running them, though, is unlike text ads, where you are bidding on a keyword basis until, someday Google decides to kill that and goes all audiences, right? I hope they don't do that. But with shopping ads, you're bidding, you're submitting a feed mm-hmm. of your product data, and then Google is matching search queries to your product feed data. And so that's kind of a really crucial difference, because you actually can't say, I want to bid on this keyword specifically. Kind of have to make sure it's in your product feed and do some other things too.
Yeah, there's a huge realm of optimization for competitiveness in the Google shopping ads. But it is one of the key factors, like you brought up. It's the visual component of the search ads, and this came into being. You're the expert here, but hasn't been like maybe 3 years tops, 3 or 4 years. Actually, it's been further than that, hasn't it?
Yeah,
is that it's been around for at least a decade? Sorry, I was just thinking on the fly there.
I cannot remember exactly when. I believe so. They've changed the name a bunch of times. It was like Frugal and Product Based, stuff like that. I want to say it was about a decade. I started in 2010, and when we started doing shopping ads, it was still free. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember when
it's been around a while. So the visual component, this is predating the Pinterest ads and all Instagram ads and what have you. So, this was the most attractive area for your search dollars to be able, if you're an e-commerce platform. We got to stress that too, right? Is that these are items to be transacted on right then and there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having that's one of the requirements is you have to have the ability to check out with this product in a cart, enter money, and then finish the transaction rate on that site.
This ad space also provides an additional real estate for your brand, because it's not a direct click through to the landing page. You're in the Google merchant shopping environment, right? And you've got products against products where you're being compared to other vendors of the same product. Is that correct?
Yeah. So if they do click on your product listing ad, they will then get to your website. Mm-hmm. But yeah, within especially in the shopping tab, or in the SERPs, there'll be a few of them. Usually there might be like 6 up top. And it'll be you against your competitors that people can see and compare prices and that. So
it's another area where your brand can exist outside of your own website. So it's mm-hmm. territory to be able to optimize. So it features products at the top of the search, so there's great real estate at the top, as well as even before the organic listings, obviously. These ads can also include additional information that boost engagement, such as prices and reviews, as well as special promotions, correct?
Yeah. And so one other thing I was going to note real quick too is with the SERPs, with shopping ads, you can have multiple shopping ads on one SERP in one SERP. So that's actually somewhat unique as well. Text ads, you can only have one. And so, yeah. So if you really want to go to town and really bid aggressively in that, you could have a SERP that only has your client or your brand shopping ads. So you can kind of battle it out that way as well. Google allows that, at least for now. But yeah, so promotions and yeah, ratings is a big one, right? Once you start working with someone like Trustpilot or whoever, Google's customer surveys and that as well. And so you'll get those, and then those will show in your products, and typically you'll see some sort of a boost from those. Obviously, we actually even like to, when we have those, we actually like to pull those in and identify top reviewed products, and then we'll pull those into a custom label and even kind of advertise to them specifically. Again, back to that point of really a bunch of optimizing your products in shopping is, trying to figure out group products well, figure out what are top performers in a way that you can bid uniquely on them and position them well. So
can you also connect these different products together in bundles, or does Google actually look at the relationship of these different products to each other?
Yeah, so there are different ways that you can tell Google. And so a number of different ways, and that's again where your product feed comes in. So like product type is a crucial way of communicating to Google that your products are related, that there's a hierarchy there.
Right.
And that gives them contextual ranking signals that they're actually starting to use more and more with product type. I'm not sure if this was caught when I froze out randomly, but Google product category is actually used to be required. That was kind of a big deal, and it's not as much anymore because that was Google's way of categorizing, and they started to realize, like, there's basically from what was communicated to me, they started to realize that, hey, you all give us your hierarchy and all of the ways that your categories and products are, so we're going to start using that a little bit more for our ranking.
Oh, wow.
So product type is one. There's a lot of other options. Item group ID is another one, and that's where you'll lump variants into each other. So your product SKUs, you all have this size shoe is size 10, but then there's a black shoe, there's a red shoe, there's a yellow shoe.
Right.
All of them will get into item group ID. You can build bundles and then submit them as bundles with the bundle field, multi-pack. There's
Sweet.
a lot of different ways you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now my SEO is taking me off at a lane here. So we look at Schema on a regular basis on the on-page optimization. Does Schema play a factor in influencer ranking score? I keep on wanting to go to a ranking score for these ads, but you're actually doing that. You're optimizing these ads. Does Schema play a role here?
So Schema is, in my opinion, the way that Google is eventually going to do all feeds.
Oh.
And so yes, I know, as soon as you say anything like that, there's a million, but it's not ready. And you're like, right, I know, but that doesn't mean
that's going to be our headline for the show. You realize that?
Yes. Well, you will get controversy. No. So that's not all of that is just a guesstimate. So Google has actually, I believe publicly sometime in the past at some Marketing Live or something, they announced that they were working on basically a feedless system utilizing the data on your site. Someone actually just tweeted out a policy page. So for some reason, it's not in the US. I'm not quite sure, but they tweeted out a policy page that was totally public for some other countries, that it was going through some of this, basically an option for when do you want to submit a feed by XML? Then one of those is by site scrape. And so they'll be utilizing Schema more and more for that. I think what's going to happen, and I'm not actually totally against this, because it'll be interesting to see what happens. People could start to make that a requirement if they wanted someday. And sure, that would be a pain, but also if that was a thing that just when they required GTINs, right? And that was a pain. And then guess what? Everyone did it, right? Because we wanted to advertise.
So let me ask you that, because as soon as you go into Schema, and I'll park it here, then you're dealing with, honestly, you're dealing with shopping software. Say that 10 times fast. Shopping software that has to be able to crank that out. And instead of being able to control explicitly what your feed is, you're now relying on additional factors of your platform to be able to give you that same categorization, subcategorization, and as product association. That's a big risk, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and so I think that's where I got cut out, is because I think what's going to happen is some of your core stuff is going to be all automated. Yep. So by the way, this is already happening with pricing and status. So in stock, out of stock.
Oh, wow, cool.
Automatic item updates are already in place. So we utilize them for most of our clients already, where Google says, oh, hey, your pricing in your feed says this, but your pricing on the website says this. So because you gave us permission, we just went ahead and updated your finalized product in Google Merchant Center. We just updated the price to what your landing page is. That way we didn't have to disapprove the product. So that's already in place. That's already been running for a while.
Got it.
So you already have stuff like that. And so what it will be is you'll have things like, so we have supplemental feeds. Google is cranking out updates for Google for feed rules, which are really cool if someone is doing shopping and not digging in. And so there's already a mechanism to be able to submit, manual product edits if you'd like. And so again, I think it'll be like, hey, yeah, scrape my site, grab the title, price, the easy stuff, right?
Right.
Then here's a supplemental feed matched to the item IDs, and that's where we submitted, unique product types, things like that. I don't think it'd be that complicated.
No, in fact, that's the juice that, that's what companies such as yourself are going to be excelling in, because as things get standardized and screen scrapes get standardized as product delivery, and it's going to make this so much easier, because that was one of the trials or the thresholds, is to be able to get into the merchant area and be able to move that content. And you got to work with your developer, making sure that they know how to export the XML feed correctly. So you had a number of challenges, but if Google already knows your product, then it's already giving you a seat at the table, right?
Yeah, and I'm not against them scraping the site as long as we can do edits. And again, because of that, we already have to have all this data. It's already out there. So right now it really is almost walking through this extra step to do it exactly how Google wants it. So again, agreed. It's not like if they pushed it live right now, sure, there'd be problems. But again, to the point of, hey, as an industry, if we continue moving forward and seeing some of this stuff. Another interesting thing on this topic too is something called advanced data extractors. And so these are buried on some policy page somewhere in Google that I could hope to find again. But they've already noted that they're working on data they're working on things through machine learning to identify non-standard schema. So if you do have, and that to me is also going to be a crucial aspect to this, where basically hey, if someone says title and not exactly how Google wants to do the title, but with their machine learning, they go in and they look at the page, they say, no, yeah, this is the title, even if they didn't add it with the correct markup, they'll still identify that. And so they're already they already have that program that they're working on called advanced data extractors. So I really think that's the direction they're going in is feedless for the most part. So.
Oh, wow. Game on, get your schema straight, folks. That's a lesson of this particular topic. All right, so jumping in, back over to optimization. Average cost per clicks have gone up, and the spend on channel continues to rise over and over, making acquiring new business and new customers through Google Shopping ads a bit more difficult. It kind of leaves users wondering how to use AdWords in 2019, 2020. You have a lot of experience in the shopping ad optimization space. Can you help us kind of unpack and give some tips to the users out there that are going up against kind of a big box e-com shopping environments? Can you kind of roll through some of the best things that they can do in regards to optimizing their feed?
Yeah. So within Google itself or Bing, you'll actually go in and create the campaigns for your shopping ads. And I think a really, really, really crucial aspect of doing shopping well is setting things up well. Because you'll have some level of optimization moving forward, but for the most part, you want to really think through and set things up well in a way that allows you to have, I like to say, like when I'm speaking at sessions and stuff, like you're wanting like products grouped with like products for the purpose of bidding well. So again, because the difference between shopping and text is keywords and not keywords. And so when you're setting a bid on a keyword in search, you are in a really cool way. And this is why I hope that, keywords never go away, because keywords are literally like a single person somewhere out there telling us marketers, this is my buying intent. This is exactly what I'm interested in, and I'm communicating that to you. I mean, that's gold, And so Google's like, hey, cool. So we should allow people to bid and set a bid based upon how much they want to spend based upon buying intent, purchase intent. Awesome, right? Google, congratulations, you've created, you've started this, or you built it, or however that worked, right? But shopping ads, like you're not bidding on a keyword, so you're bidding on the product group level. And so kind of segmenting things out into campaigns and that, so your product groups have those like products. So for instance, you don't want to be bidding on a product group that, let's say, like all your Legos. All right, I like Legos. You have a $2,400, Lego, some Star Wars crazy. It's you can't buy them anymore. It's really expensive. You have that in your product group, and then you have like one of those 24-cent little Lego extractor pieces, right? If those are both in the same thing, and then you have $1 CPC set on that, that's probably not a smart way to do it, right? You're bidding up to $1 on those things. And then that also gets into the levels of queries as well. And that goes into a whole different topic that, we could cover if you wanted, but there are also advanced ways to somewhat hack the system with shopping and be able to bid a little separately based on kind of general query purchase intent as well. So there are ways to set that up as well. But basically setting things up so that you're bidding well on like things is really crucial to shopping.
Given your example of Star Wars Legos, you do have the big Star Destroyer, don't you? Look at behind him, everybody. I mean, look at the stuff on his wall. but you've got the Star Destroyer, don't you? You got the Lego Star Destroyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, full confession, I like transparency. This is the knockoff China version.
Oh, no, he didn't.
I know. I did for that one. I didn't have $2,400 to spend on a Star Destroyer.
I see. The problem is I knew exactly what he was talking about. I went right there. So at least it's not the Mega Bloks version, right?
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, now, half your users probably dropped off the show because good night, that Kirk guy.
Yeah, exactly. He couldn't commit. He just
Mega Bloks would be like 1-to-1 ratio, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's literally just a block.
All right, pulling it back around. Sorry, I had to go there. It was too good to pass up. So you've got these different keyword bidding strategies, and it's all about intent. It absolutely is. But you also have a lot of rule-based bidding strategies and audience targeting in the shopping ads that have similarity to conventional PPC and AdWords, but there's some uniqueness in that space as well. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's a good call out, because agreed, you will have definitely audiences, and they've expanded the audiences that you can use with shopping ads. Devices, we like, it does depend on it. I like segmentation. I don't like over segmentation. So sometimes it's a little bit of a dance of figuring that out. There are accounts where we've pulled things out by devices per campaign because there's such a dramatic conversion difference between mobile and desktop. And we know that mobile is not going to convert, as well as desktop, just because there's a great top of funnel aspect there that's important. But even then we want to have bids separate still in that. So you might do that. But probably the biggest shopping news in the last year now, because I think these came out last year. I think they were announced at 2018 Google Marketing Live are the smart shopping campaigns, which are like Google's real like black box. I think the only thing that's more automated that I'm aware of in the Google sphere are like app campaigns, which I haven't run them, to be honest, at least for a long time. Friends who do say they're just super automated. You push a button and walk away. Smart shopping is pretty close to that, and I think in some problematic ways. I think that it's something that should at least be considered in testing.
So we talked smart shopping over social. This is big, and give us some dimensions of what smart shopping does on the Google Ads shopping platform there.
Yeah, so smart shopping really expands your ability to target using shopping ads with one campaign into different channels. So that's one aspect. So instead of just showing on search and search partners, you're going to be eligible to show on display, on YouTube, Gmail. Pretty much if it's Google owned, smart shopping will show on it. And then it's based upon a target ROAS. So it's very, very much based on, track profit. There is an option just to not even put in a target ROAS and say, just go out and spend for me. And you basically set a daily budget and go. But it really is, it's one of those, I've actually heard a Googler call it black box. So like, it's not just a conspiracy theorist saying like it's black box, it is black box. So there's almost no data that you can see from it. There are very few optimizations that you can do, although there are some. And so it really is kind of this Google really pushing the limits of how much can we make a set and forget it thing, and how widely will it be adopted.
Just give us your money, trust us, and we'll go spend it for you to get to your customers the best way possible. And we're not going to tell you how we got there. We're just going to get you customers. That's pretty much what you're saying, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've had conversations with CEOs who are okay, like happy that great. Okay. We're seeing maybe some target ROAS, like what's going on? Or maybe there's a dip the next day and they're saying, okay, so what happened? And that's me saying, I have literally no idea. It's not just me. No one would have that idea.
Oh my gosh.
So like, hey, did maybe we get out of some, a certain keyword? I don't know. We can't see we can't see search query data. Oh, okay. Like maybe certain audience, we can't see that. Are we spending more on, did it switch and dump more placements on Gmail instead of YouTube? I don't know. We can't see that. So you're not even like they literally invented a new channel for smart shopping. So in Google Ads, it'll say search network, display network, right? Smart shopping, it's called cross network.
Oh my Lord.
So like they won't even show you channel data, nothing. And you do not get that data. So if let's say that you pushed a button, and again, like we have seen at times smart shopping work in terms of targeted ROAS. So like, I'm not saying that like, oh, it's a complete flop. I'm just saying there are some significant things just to be aware of, right? If you push the button and switch your entire account over to smart shopping for 1 year, that will be you in 1 year looking back on an entire period, and you have literally no data at all. And you could have spent millions of dollars and you have nothing to show for it that can age your other campaigns. Right. We'll do that with shopping. We'll find queries that, hey, Google does find some new queries and they convert. Cool. Let's add those into search. Right. You can't do that.
It's like trusting Skynet to advertise for you.
So, and that, that gets into the other part, which is, so it's very much target ROAS centered. So you're going, return on ad spend, sorry. In case, there are listeners listening who weren't sure of that. So return on ad spend, what is our ROI, which in ads, that's ROAS, return on ad spend.
Yep.
So what is our target that we want to do, right? That we want to hit. And so there's even another complexity. There's complexity on that, and we just had this conversation for a certain client that we have, where we were talking to the Googlers about this, and they were asking about smart shopping and if that could play a role. And that was us saying, like, look, you're just ROAS targeted with this campaign type, but there's a lot of other stuff going on with this client that's off channel. That's reported through other channels, conversions that we'll see with shopping. Like there's a bigger brand awareness thing going on with how shopping fits into that. And so it works really well for us to get really targeted for shopping ads on the search network for this client. And smart shopping, we can't do that. We're just pushing a button and turning it on everywhere. So because of that, it's literally not an option for this. And it doesn't help me if you tell me you'll hit ROAS targets, because we're thinking beyond ROAS targets, right?
Yeah,
it's not just about what's tracked. So
you got your blinders on, and how effective has the smart shopping been as of late? I mean, you got to have some data on just the conversions themselves. How does that compare to the different audience targeting that you're doing manually, as well as display targeting? How does it work? How does it compare?
We've seen it work fairly well with ROAS, to be honest. So again, with the point of that's one of the reasons why we're testing it. And we're trying to figure it out, because if there's also one thing that I'm convinced of with Google, it's not, they don't usually push something forward in terms of like technology and then like walk it back. That is really rare. And so I also think it's one of those things where let's just say one of the reasons why I'm beating the drum so loud right now, as much as I can, with like, hey, smart shopping has issues, is not that I want Google to just kill it. I want them to fix it, right? So it's almost like, hey, I'm on your side. Let's actually make this better so we all can use this.
Right.
Because we have seen smart shopping work well. We've also seen it work well, and then over a few months, it'll just start to slowly kind of tank, even if we're trying to make adjustments with ROAS, things like that. ROAS targets, Google will say, hey, don't set ROAS targets more than a 20% bid modifier adjustment within 7 days. So they'll say that. We'll follow that, and we'll still see really weird things happen when we set ROAS targets, and then all of a sudden, like, sales drop for 48 hours or something. So you just have, again, to that point of, you have just normal machine learning volatility, package that with a black box where you have no idea what's going on in it. And it's kind of a recipe for again, frustrated VPs, frustrated CEOs, and they're the ones who Google does need to be careful of here. So yeah, hopefully what I would like is, I would like them to give us more insight. So I would like them to give us any insight, I guess.
Yeah.
Data. And then also it would be nice to have some triggers that we could pull as an assistant type thing. So your machine runs things, it does it does its thing. And then we have a few things that we have a few levers to kind of assist it, even give it some feedback that machines need. Hopefully that'll happen. It's not there yet.
Oh boy, you're putting trepidations in me. I tell you, at least you'd hope that it could actually help influence the other campaigns, the other channels that you're marketing. Almost have like a smart shopper insight that you can capitalize on or not in your other marketing channels, right? Other audience segmentation, so you can take advantage of some of that. And whether or not you know what it is, it's at least cross-pollinating to be able to help improve your campaigns, and then you can choose to use it or not. But it's not even doing that. It's just kind of running its own little hamster wheel out there.
It's in its own world.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, let's get back to the stuff that we can control. Can you tell our audience about geo modifiers when it comes down to shopping ads? Yeah,
so they work very similarly to search. So campaign level. And so if you are running e-commerce, and again, for the most part, I've not necessarily found really segmenting out by city necessarily always helps, but there will be certain accounts where it does make sense. And so that might be a route you want to go and have shopping ads pulled into by state or city or things like that you can do as well. We've run testing as well for the clients like that. So if you're familiar with the way geo targeting works in search, it's very similar in shopping.
Good. They also released, I was reading up on this before the show, the Showcase shopping campaigns for mobile shoppers.
Yeah, Showcase. I'm a big fan of Showcase. I was trepidatious of them when they first came out, but basically a Showcase shopping ad, and these are almost entirely on mobile, but they are expanding more and more from what we've seen in testing that and placements too, like desktop and that. But a Showcase ad is it's kind of your brand awareness top of funnel thought. So someone might be searching for red dress. And in this case, this ad type really does fit well with that, because then what it'll do is if someone types in their phone, they say red dress, they obviously by their query, well, more than likely, obviously by their query, they don't have too much of an idea of what they're looking for. They just want to see examples of red dresses. And so a Showcase ad is basically Google and you showing like, hey, here are a bunch of red dresses we have that they can click on the main ad. You have a great image that you can put up there to kind of draw them in, and then that expands into a bunch of PLAs. And then you are charged if they've expanded that and they've been on it for 10 seconds or more, then you're charged a cost per engagement. It's basically a CPC. Or if they click through on one of those to your site, then you're charged. So
that's pretty cool. It's almost like setting stage on the fathead term before there's true qualification and narrowing of search, and you're getting ahead of that curve with some good design placement, and that's where your brand really shines through, as opposed to that more narrow transactional intent, right?
Yeah, exactly. And one real important thing to note for any people running shopping who are doing kind of more detailed strategies is Showcase shopping ads do not recognize priority settings in shopping ads. So just so you're aware of that. So if you are running some sort of strategy that utilizes your high, medium, and low priority settings, Showcase ads do not recognize those. We found that out the hard way. And so what I usually do with Showcase is I've gotten to the point where I give them their own campaign, and that also lets us keep those separate. And we watch profits separate and all that stuff. So we give Showcase their own shopping campaigns now.
Very cool. Very cool. From an expense standpoint, are they low expense or high expense? I mean, you're still dealing with almost like a CPC mentality there.
It's very similar from what we've seen, because it's like a CPE. It's called cost per engagement. They're fairly similar to our CPCs and our accounts that we run. Yeah, we've been seeing them do better, honestly, even in tracked ROAS, which in the past it wasn't quite as much, which totally makes sense. They're top of funnel, but I feel like across accounts we've been seeing them do better. I don't know why. I don't know if Google's learning and putting them in better placements, or I don't know.
Do you have the ability to look at a multi-touch of that campaign and then your more transactional product campaign that's an influence against that can actually raise click-through and raise conversions?
Yeah, you can set an attribution model that's not specifically on like the last click and that. So like data-driven DDA or some others. Position-based is one I like if we don't have the DDA option. And you can see some of that. Or again to the point of having it in its own campaign, go ahead and hop into Google Analytics and you can use the comparison tool there. And we like doing that and get an idea of, hey, is this thing sending more first touch sales than others? And sometimes that's illuminating as well.
I dig it. You can also trial out different imagery and branding opportunities that you can then carry on to your individual product imagery, right?
Yeah, especially in those showcase ads, you can test those with different images. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, wrapping up here, there's some ad merchant promotion modifiers that you can also adjust your ad to. Can you name a couple of those? I'm just really trying to expand what you have to customize your ad, because, and when it gets down to it, that visual appearance, right, is a watershed moment for consumers. So what can you control from the visual ad itself?
Yeah, so the image, of course. The frustrating thing about testing images with shopping ads is you're not testing them simultaneously, and so that always leaves room for error as time changes things. But for the most part, you can set up images. A really common and easy and obvious image test is to try like hero images and lifestyle images. And so it might be, an image. So if it's apparel, maybe you want to test just like, hey, here are the shoes just on a white background, really large picture, looks good. Or you might want to test like someone wearing the shoes, right? So you can test that. Promotions. So there's actually an updated promotion tool that's really handy. Google just updated this and really did a great job of walking you through it. So you'll go into Google Merchant Center for this, and then you can add in merchant promotions there, and that's going to give you a little tag in the SERP that says buy one get one off, 50% off or something like that. So that's in Google Merchant Center. That's the promotions. And then there's also the sales. There's in your feed, there's sales price and sales price effective date and that. Although we've been having some struggles with that lately, especially with automatic item updates. And as I've been talking with Google, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the sales price field eventually get deprecated, because a lot of their tags are becoming more and more automated, as they've noted. So basically they're looking at that and they're seeing, hey, we've tracked the price of this product over the last 90 days or, whatever it is. And you saw a 27% drop. And so they're testing things like literally, you might've seen this, literally a little tag up there that says 27% price drop. That's 100% on Google's, that's automated. That's Google decides to do that.
Wow.
No, can't add that or not, or take it away.
Push pause for a second. They're affecting your promotion, right? With a particular price drop, and they're affecting literally what you're actually rolling that pricing out to be.
So there's kind of the two separate categories. So the promotion is something that you would go in and make in Google Merchant Center.
And then got it.
Yeah, and especially so a core difference to note for me is if something changes going into the cart, then you want to do that with a promotion. If your price just changed, and so if your landing page price is all of a sudden 25% lower because they're running a deal across the site, you can't run a promotion for that. But that's where that sales price thing that Google kind of watching your thing will say, whoa, hey, so they're not changing your price.
Right.
They're just notifying, oh, your price dropped 25%, and then alert everyone, it dropped 25%.
So they're modifying it, and again, forgive me for being paranoid there, but so they're actually really paying attention to each and every one of your landing pages and scooping up and adjusting the price for best display, really helping you out as an advertiser as opposed to just willy-nilly deciding change pricing. So it's responding, it's giving you an advocacy tool to be able to move it quicker in front of the customer, right?
Yeah.
All right, I get it. Okay, so there's certainly a lot to the smart shopping realm that bears scrutiny, and hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit more in that space. So you got to keep up the good fight, Kirk, because we might actually ask Kirk Williams to get in there and start slugging it out because we need you to kind of demystify.
The good news is I've got the voice promo ready for Kit.
Okay, cool. There's so much that goes into the shopping ads, and we really do appreciate you unpacking this for us. Any final thoughts about advertisers that haven't tried out shopping ads before? Any key guidance that you'd give them?
Yeah. So one thing would be if you are running e-commerce, then like just kind of baseline, you should be trying smart shopping ads, right? Merkle, puts out their report every year, and they just put theirs out. And I was prepping this for a session. I'm trying to remember the exact number. But search ads, clicks and spend have kind of been declining or stable in that. But shopping does still continue to grow quite rapidly compared to search ads. There might have been a decline from quarter to quarter, but even then the growth is like 40% higher than search or something like that. So there's still, Google's still creating more placements for shopping ads. It seems they're still pushing this hard. And that's where your competitors are. And so we've definitely seen e-commerce over the last number of years, we've definitely seen it shift from being primarily search centered to being primarily shopping centered.
Wow.
If that's not, the way your account is, and there's going to be outliers and everything, that's fine. But like shopping is a big deal. And so just be aware of that as e-commerce. So that's probably the main thing. And then, one thing I noted, the shopping campaign build outs, one thing I'll note just so that it's there for a resource is still a really great way to get kind of in depth and be able to bid separately, to go after that purchase intent is bidding by query. And so it gets really complicated. There's a video out there by a guy named Martin Rotgerding. That's really good. And then based on that, this was a few years back, then I wrote a Search Engine Land article as I got in and tested it out. That's really just a walkthrough. This is exactly how you do this. And using those priority settings I noted, it allows you to, basically what it does is it allows you to set less aggressive bids and keep your budget lower on kind of those more general terms that Google would want to blow your budget on. Like if you're selling Trek bikes and it's the word is bicycle, you probably don't want to blow all your budget on that. And if you do this strategy, you actually can segment that out. So you actually can control your budget and bids better for terms like that, so that you preserve it and can get more aggressive if someone is saying, I want to buy a Trek FX2 bike. And you're like, wow, that's a great keyword. I want to bid more aggressively on that. And you can with this strategy, and it still works. It's a few years old. It still works. We still see it work, and we still use it a lot. So very good. Very good.
So we certainly recommend our audience, if they are e-com, jump in there now. And most of these more contemporary shopping carts, shopping software have a Google feed ready and can fire off in a moment's notice. So if you're not doing it, you better be doing it right now, because there's an entire shopping area that you're not capitalizing on, and there's an entire customer base that is spending money with your competitors, not you. So jump in there. So what are some good resources if our audience or different digital marketers are lost in this space? Some good quick references out there of just how to get ramped up into this space?
Yeah, so I'm really trying to do a lot of writing on shopping. So honestly, I'll shout out myself here. If you follow our blog,
yep.
We do a lot of writing, a lot of focus on shopping ads, and that's at zatomarketing.com. Look me up anywhere, PPC Kirk. If you Google PPC Kirk, that's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, Instagram. And I usually try to stay up and just discuss what's going on in shopping ads. And then also, if you're totally new to shopping ads, there is an ebook that I helped write for Search Engine Journal, and I wrote the shopping ads section that kind of is a detailed. This is a great place to start.
Cool.
And so that's probably worth looking and reading as well.
Excellent. Well, we've run long here, Kirk. I really do appreciate your time and your detail as you break these apart. There's so much information in this space that's growing, and people, I think one of the key things is consumers are trusting the shopping environment more every year. Average conversion data is increasing. So we have a savvy customer base that's trusting the environment, trusting their smartphones, and it's making hay for your clients, isn't it?
Yeah, we love shopping ads and are going to keep rolling on it. So
sweet. Speaking of keeping on rolling, you've got 5 kids, man, and you're not done. What's going on there, man?
I like to say that usually God gives at least one of us the brains to say, "Hey, enough's enough," and neither of us has that. So
and they're all blonde, and you have a specific formula for their names. So what's going on there?
Yeah. So let's see. They're all 7 letters, and the girls all start with BRI, and the boys start with BE. So
there you go.
we're running out of names, though.
Oh my Lord! Well, it's just lining them up. It's almost like song. What is it? Oh, hold on.
Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. Thank you. My gosh.
Yeah, that's what we're going for.
That's what it sounds like. Boy, I couldn't get out of my mouth quick enough. But
aside from not the Nazi Germany part, but the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have the mountains in Montana.
Yes, you do. And they're blonde, and we won't make any other references besides that.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Kirk. It's always been a pleasure, and we certainly wish you come back again. Don't be a stranger. Don't let 3 years go past, because Lord knows in Google shopping space, I mean, we're all going to be wet wired with a chip to purchase from by the time 3 years rolls around, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or, AR will come before that, though. So
absolutely. All right, so we want to make sure we promote your agency and go ahead and lay it on us as well. ZATO, where can they find you?
We are just online at zatomarketing.com, and that's ZATO.
Excellent. All right. Well, we certainly appreciate your expertise, and we'll be watching you from afar. Thank you so much, and we appreciate that expertise in the shopping ad space. We haven't had it on the show nearly as much as we should.
Cool. Yeah, thanks again for having me. It was a good time.
Not a problem. Thanks so much. All right. Thanks for watching and listening to Edge of the Web Radio. Special thank you to our colleagues over at Edge of the Web Radio, as well as Site Strategics, especially our guest, Kirk Williams. Make sure you check out all the must-see videos over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. Be sure to rate, review us online at all the different podcast spaces, because we certainly want to hear from you. Let us know how we're doing. And then make sure that you let us know who you'd like us to speak to next. So just give us a shout over at edgeofthewebradio.com. From all of us over at Site Strategics, thanks so much. And we'll be talking to you next week live. And be sure to watch for us on YouTube, because we're coming your way fast. So for all of us over here, don't be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.